The Kenyan sun beat down on the savannah, dust motes danced in the golden light. Two massive figures grazed peacefully. Najin and Fatu, mother and daughter, were the last of their kind, the last northern white rhinos on Earth. Their home, old Pejeta Conservancy, was a sanctuary, but it was also a poignant reminder of what had been lost. The air hummed with the ghosts of thunderous herds that once roamed free. Now only silence echoed their memory. These gentle giants, with their prehistoric bulk and soulful eyes, carried the weight of a species on their broad shoulders. Every blade of grass they consumed, every step they took, was a testament to survival against impossible odds. Their story is one of human greed and the urgent need for redemption. It is a story that demands to be heard. The northern white rhinoceros once thrived across a vast swathe of Africa. From the grasslands of Chad and the Central African Republic to the savannas of Uganda and Sudan, their presence shaped the landscape. Thousands strong, they were a symbol of wildness and untamed beauty. Their distinctive flat upper lip, perfectly adapted for grazing, was a familiar sight. Their deep, rumbling calls echoed across the plains, a testament to their social bonds and dominance. These majestic creatures were not solitary wanderers. They lived in complex social structures, led by matriarchs who guided their families through the vast African plains. Young calves born after a gestation period of over 16 months would remain fiercely protected by their mothers for years. The northern white rhino was an integral part of a delicate ecosystem, their grazing habits shaping the vegetation and influencing the lives of countless other species. Their disappearance from this tapestry of life has left a void, a silent tear in the fabric of the wild. The decline of the northern white rhino population began with relentless poaching, driven by the high value of their horns on the black market. Despite the efforts of dedicated conservationists, the numbers dwindled rapidly, pushing the species to the brink of extinction. Today, only a few northern white rhinos remain, all of them living under constant protection in sanctuaries. Scientists are working tirelessly on advanced reproductive technologies, hoping to bring back this majestic species from the edge of oblivion. Community education programs are also crucial, teaching local populations the importance of preserving these incredible animals. The hope is that one day the northern white rhino will once again roam the grasslands, a living testament to the resilience of nature and the power of human dedication. Until then, the ghosts of the grasslands remain a poignant reminder of what has been lost and what we must strive to protect. The decline of the northern white rhino is a stark reminder of humanity's capacity for destruction. Once roaming the vast African savannas in large numbers, these majestic creatures are now on the brink of extinction. Habitat loss, driven by expanding human populations and agriculture, played a significant role. As forests were cleared and land was converted for farming, the natural habitats of these rhinos were destroyed, leaving them with fewer places to live and thrive. But the most devastating blow came from poaching. Ruthless poachers, armed with sophisticated weapons, hunted these animals relentlessly, driven by the lucrative black market for rhino horns. The illegal wildlife trade, fueled by insatiable demand for rhino horn, decimated their numbers. This trade is a multi-billion-dollar industry, with rhino horns fetching exorbitant prices. Myths and rumors, particularly in Asian markets, falsely attributed medicinal properties to the horn. Despite scientific evidence debunking these claims, the belief persisted, driving demand even higher. This drove prices to astronomical levels, turning rhino horn into a commodity more valuable than gold. The high value of rhino horn made it a prime target for poachers who were willing to risk everything for a chance at fortune. Armed groups, driven by profit and fueled by corruption, descended upon rhino populations. These groups often operated with impunity, outgunning and outmaneuvering local law enforcement and anti-poaching patrols. The once thriving herds were reduced to scattered groups, desperately trying to survive in a world that had turned against them. These isolated rhinos faced not only the threat of poachers, but also the challenges of finding food and mates in their fragmented habitats. The slaughter was brutal and relentless. Poachers showed no mercy, often leaving behind the carcasses of these magnificent creatures to rot in the sun. The ground was stained with the blood of magnificent creatures, their lives extinguished for the sake of greed and superstition. The loss of each rhino was not just a blow to the species, but a tragic reminder of the consequences of human actions. In the face of this onslaught, one name came to symbolize both the tragedy and the fragile hope of the species: Sudan. His story is one of both sorrow and inspiration, a tale that has touched the hearts of millions. Born in the wilds of southern Sudan in 1973, he was captured as a calf and spent much of his life in captivity. His early years in the wild were cut short, and he was thrust into a world far removed from his natural habitat. First at Dvor Kralova Zoo in the Czech Republic and later at Old Pejeta Conservancy in Kenya, Sudan became an ambassador for his kind. His presence in these institutions was not just about survival, but about raising awareness and educating the world about the plight of his species. Millions around the world connected with his story, a poignant reminder of what was at stake. Social media buzzed with updates about Sudan, and people from all walks of life were drawn to his narrative, feeling a deep connection to this majestic creature. Sudan's life was a testament to the resilience of his species, but it also underscored the immense challenges they faced. From the loss of habitat to the threat of poaching, the northern white rhino's struggle was emblematic of broader environmental issues. Despite numerous breeding attempts, he did not sire any offspring in his later years. The scientific community and conservationists tried various methods, but the hope of continuing his lineage dwindled with each passing year. When he died in 2018 at the age of 45, the world mourned. His passing was not just the loss of an individual, but a symbol of the fragility of life and the urgent need for conservation efforts. The last male northern white rhino was gone, taking with him half of the species' genetic diversity. His death marked the end of an era, but also ignited a renewed vigor in the fight to save what remained. His legacy, however, lived on in the hearts of those who vowed to fight for the survival of his kind. Conservationists, scientists, and everyday people were inspired by Sudan's story to take action, ensuring that his life, though marked by captivity, would not be in vain. The battle to save the northern white rhino continues, driven by the memory of Sudan and the hope that future generations will not have to witness such loss. Hope now rests on the delicate shoulders of Najin and Fatou. These two females, also residents of Old Pejeta Conservancy, represent the last chance for the northern white rhino. Najin, born in captivity in 1989, is Fatou's mother. Fatou, born in 2000, has never known life outside the sanctuary. They are constantly under the watchful eyes of dedicated caretakers, their every move monitored, their well-being paramount. Their lives are a strange mixture of peace and captivity. They graze on the Kenyan plains, their massive bodies casting long shadows in the setting sun. But they are also acutely aware of the fences that surround them, the limitations of their existence. Despite the constant presence of their human protectors, there is an undeniable sadness in their eyes, a longing for the freedom that was stolen from their ancestors. With the loss of Sudan, traditional breeding efforts to save the northern white rhino came to an end, but hope is not lost. Scientists have turned to cutting-edge reproductive technologies in a desperate bid to revive the species from the brink. In vitro fertilization, a process by which eggs are fertilized with sperm in a laboratory setting, offers a glimmer of hope. The Biorescue Project, an international collaboration of scientists and conservationists, is at the forefront of these efforts. Utilizing sperm collected from deceased males, including Sudan, and eggs harvested from Najin and Fatou, the team has successfully created several northern white rhino embryos. These precious embryos are currently stored in liquid nitrogen, awaiting the day when they can be implanted into surrogate mothers. Kenya has emerged as a global leader in the fight to save the northern white rhino. Old Pejeta Conservancy, a sprawling private reserve, has become synonymous with rhino conservation. Here, dedicated teams work tirelessly to protect not only Najin and Fatou, but also to safeguard populations of critically endangered black rhinos. Their efforts extend beyond fences and patrols, encompassing community outreach and education programs. The Kenyan government, recognizing the plight of the Northern White Rhino and the importance of biodiversity conservation, has thrown its weight behind these efforts. Working in collaboration with international organizations, they have implemented strict anti-poaching measures and invested heavily in wildlife protection. Kenya's stand is a testament to the fact that conservation is not just about saving a species, it is about safeguarding a natural heritage for generations to come. The fate of the Northern White Rhino now rests not just in the hands of scientists and conservationists in Kenya, but on the conscience of the world. The fight to save this iconic species is a global responsibility. It requires a collective effort, a unified front against the forces of greed and apathy that have driven these creatures to the brink. Every individual has a role to play. Support for organizations like Pejeta Conservancy and the Biorescue Project is crucial. Donations, no matter how small, can make a difference in funding vital research, anti-poaching patrols, and community outreach programs. Awareness is equally important. Spreading the word about the plight of the Northern White Rhino, sharing their story, and challenging the myths that fuel the illegal wildlife trade are all vital steps in turning the tide.